Here, got head coach Randy Edsall with us. He'll start with an opening statement, and then if you guys have questions after that, please just raise your virtual hands, and we'll do a Q&A that way. So, Coach, take us away.
All righty, appreciate it, Pat. Hope everybody's doing well. Well, it's just been spring ended up culminating an unusual year, to say the least, and some of the challenges that we had in the fall, we ended up having in the spring, but still feel very, very fortunate that we were able to get 12 of the 15 practices in this spring. Would have liked to get those last 3 in because we had another big scrimmage coming up tomorrow that we missed out on, but so the world we live in today with what's going on, but needless to say, our kids are healthy, and I thought the time that we did have on the field this spring was very beneficial and very rewarding for the players and for the coaches. So thankful for that. I just really feel good about what we were able to get accomplished. Feel good about where we are with what we've been able to do with our team. The big thing is now the players really understand the playbook. They understand the things that they need to continue to work on here in these next 4 months before we get back together at the end of July and prepare for the season opener. So it also gave the coaches an opportunity to for us to really understand our personnel and to know what we feel they can do and what they still need to get better at. This is the first time that I've been involved with having as many young men on a spring roster as we had. We had 91 players during this spring, which, is incredible. We'll be adding 10 more freshmen in June and a couple walk-ons, three to four walk-ons. And then we'll also probably look to, if there's any way we can enhance our roster through the transfer portal, we'll be able to do that based on our numbers. So again, all in all, I thought it was a productive, spring for us. Not going to have any kind of a too deep coming out of the spring because we got a lot of competition. That's the one thing that I do really feel good about, that we have more depth and more bodies available to play for us now than we've had in the time that I've been here in this second go round. So just like the way the guys are competing, like the way they're working. And now if they can make, they'll be leaving here. Some are already left. I told them if they didn't want to hang around till, next Friday when, spring break really starts, they could head home, because right now we're not able to do anything. So some guys did head home. Some guys will head home next week and definitely get out of here by the weekend. We have about a dozen guys that'll be staying here through spring break and through the end of the semester because of situations, better accommodations here in terms of the internet and doing the things academically that they can do. They'll be gone until June 1st. We'll get back together on June. They'll come back for summer starting June 1st. And then we'll have those 2 months. Our freshmen will come in around June 18th, 19th, and they'll integrate into the program. And then end of July, we'll get started. So if there's any questions, fire away.
Joe Zone, go ahead.
Randy, good afternoon.
Hey, Joe.
You
got any bears out there this afternoon?
Well, they come whenever they want. I just kind of, as soon as they come, I'm inside. So I'm none today anyway. When you complete your evaluation for the spring practice, do you then give each individual player an assignment that you want each player to accomplish in the summer, whether it's, get bigger, stronger, learn this or that. So does each player get an individual evaluation on what to do going forward?
Yeah, they're going to meet with, I was going to meet with each one of them personally before they left next week, but now we're not going to do that. I'm going to meet with them when they come back June 1st. But we, as myself and the coaching staff, we sit down and talk about personnel all the time. And we had a big meeting. So they're going to meet with their position coaches. They're going to meet with their position coaches virtually. And, the coach has been telling them what they need to do all through spring practice, what they need to do to get better. And they'll continue to do that. And then when we come back, because I'll have all the information in terms of their grades and everything else. And then I'm going to meet with them individually when they get back here in June. But between Matt King and the assistant coaches, they're telling them exactly what they need to do. And that's after we've all sat down and talked about it.
Thank you.
Gavin, go ahead.
All righty. What's the quarterback competition been like this spring?
It's been competitive, and it'll stay that way until we go into the season. I don't know when. We might not name a guy until we take the field. But again, I think that there's guys there that are competing. They've had some good days, and they've had some days that weren't up to the standards that they would have liked and we would have liked. So again, we still have an ongoing competition. And now the thing is we were able to see, because we made them live in the scrimmages, the 2 scrimmages that we had, they were live. We thudded them up in practice to try to make it as realistic as we could to a game, but we're nowhere near ready to make a decision on who the starter is at that position, and just like so many positions.
Have you been fairly healthy overall as a team?
We have, we had, you have a couple things that came up, and but for the most part, I thought we stayed, really healthy, and well, I think we're good. We'll be in really good shape as we go into when we go into summer workouts in June.
Thanks.
Mike Crispino, go ahead.
Hey, Randy, good to see you. Again.
Yeah.
Good to be seen. We want to see you in person soon. I think that would be best. Couple things on the transfer portal. Will you look at specific positions when you look at that? How do you view that?
Yeah, I mean, we have, there's still a couple positions that I think that we could, if there's people available to enhance us at those positions, we'll do that. There are a couple positions that I'm still, maybe interested in, but if it's not the right person or the right fit, we're just not going to add somebody to add somebody. But yeah, there's probably 2 to 3 positions that I would still, we would still evaluate people that would come through the portal to see if they fit what we're looking for, and if they're, somebody that can fit into, the culture that we have here now.
And what are those positions as you look at it right now?
I'll keep those to myself.
Okay. The other question, what's the challenge of assessing the roster during these spring practices when you got most all your players haven't played a real live game in over a year?
Well, that's why we tried to make everything as live as we could within the rules of the NCAA. I mean, we're allowed to thud in practice on so many of the practices. We're allowed to scrimmage in so many of the practices. So, for the most part, when we practice, I mean, if it's stud, it's everything except taking the guy to the ground for the most part. And then we had two scrimmages where, I mean, I really feel this way is we know as a coaching staff who we are, what we have available to us, and how we're going to have to go about using that talent to be the best that we can be. So I thought that was extremely important to be able to come out of spring with that kind of an evaluation. And I feel as though that we got that. This last, like Tuesday would have been a thud day. Thursday today would have been just a helmet day. That would have been our 3rd helmet day that we had. And then tomorrow would have been a scrimmage. So would have gotten a little bit more by watching the scrimmage and the practice on Tuesday. But I feel that we have enough to know who we are, the talents that the young men have. And then as we were going through spring, we were incorporating things as we saw that could enhance us, offensively, defensively, and special teams. So, like I said, I feel good where we are now with like I said, with the obstacles that we had to go through to get to this point. And, again, it is what it is from the standpoint of the scrimmaging. We'll probably scrimmage 3 times, 2 for sure, maybe a third small one before we could go and play, Fresno State. So, and that's all you can do. And then you go out and play the games, and you hope you execute well enough to give yourself an opportunity to win.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Looking forward to seeing you this summer.
Yep.
Sean McFarland, go ahead.
Hey, Randy. One of your assistant coaches was saying a few weeks ago that just because these guys haven't played in so long, there's been that extra excitement, maybe a little more amped up to kind of get back to spring ball and get a little closer to normalcy. Did you feel like you're able to kind of capitalize and take advantage of the fact that guys were maybe a little more amped up for spring ball than they would be in a normal year when they would have had a season a few months prior?
Yeah, I think that the attitude and the enthusiasm was very good as we started the spring, and it stayed that way throughout the spring. And yes, I think they were anxious to go out there and compete. I mean, I think we got kids who are competitive. We got kids that know that they have to go out and compete each and every day and each and every practice in order to secure a position, which maybe we didn't have that until, this year. So I thought that the sense of urgency was really good. And I thought the approach and the attitude was good throughout the whole spring. And, I know that they'll be excited again. If they can go and make the strides that they made from, last fall and through the winter to when we started spring, if we can make those same strides that this summer, in these next basically 4 months to go into August, we're going to be in pretty good shape as we head into August.
Wayne Norman, go ahead.
Hey, Randy. What did you lose out the most by losing these 3 practices? Was there any more installation, or was it just reps and giving guys more experience to finish things out?
No, it wasn't any installation, but what it was just to continue to put together those things that we felt that these guys can do. Like offensively, there's certain packages that you might have based on, who do you have, the personnel you have in the game, and taking advantage of the personnel that you have in the game. Defensively, the same thing in terms of, again, just repping a lot of the things that we did, but also being able to get more work in a nickel package, in a dime package, in the base package, and then also, doing some things in terms of, experimenting with, 4 down linemen when you go to your 3rd down package, in terms of, what you can do and how you line those guys up and given different looks. And then, again, I don't think you can ever substitute the value of, scrimmaging, and because basically what we did, the 2 scrimmages we had officials there, and they played it like a game. Coaches had the headsets on. We were off the field, just playing it like a regular game. And to be able to get another opportunity to do that tomorrow, would have just enhanced us and would have helped our players.
Anybody else have anything for Coach? Go ahead, Gavin.
You talked about having 91 guys in the spring practice. How much of an advantage was that to get that many guys exposed to what you want to do?
I thought it was really good because they all got reps. Nobody can say that they didn't have an opportunity to be evaluated. That's for one thing. And again, I think the one thing for us as coaches is, you're going to have, and it happened. We had some injuries during the spring where, somebody rolled an ankle, and missed a couple days, and a younger guy had to step up maybe, and to be able to see them in those positions is good for us, because we know what we feel they can do, and then also we could tell them, hey, here's the things that you got to continue to work on to get better at now, that in these next 4 months before we get going again at the end of July. So having that many guys and knowing what your personnel is going to be and how guys can help you, that was a luxury. It really was. That was a luxury. And, we had, I think it was seven incoming players that signed in December that enrolled early. So again, that helps them. And, I just thought overall it was just, it was really good. And we really got a lot out of the 12 days. We would have liked to have those last 3, but like I said, we'll take the 12 and, take it and keep going forward now.
And can you talk about your captains? So you just kind of announce your 3 captains and what they kind of bring.
What was that again?
Your captains, can you just talk about them
Okay.
and what they bring to the team?
Yeah, we, I just decided, I thought it was, we're at the point now with our program where I thought we had guys that were capable of handling, being a captain. And, we put a vote, I put the vote, all the players voted, all the coaches voted. And it was really clear that those were the 3 guys in terms of, Ryan Vandermark, is just a guy that has been a very vocal leader, and also does it by doing things right and works hard in the weight room and everything else. He's a guy that just, I think he's got really good leadership qualities and capabilities, and he's demonstrated that through the fall and through the winter and through the spring. And so well deserving there. Brian Keating, there's a guy that, this program means everything to him. You cut him open and I guarantee you he has blue in his veins. He's been a part of this even before he got here. And just the effort and his attitude and enthusiasm and the respect that he has. And, that's not very often you see a long snapper, that's, maybe is your captain. And, we've been fortunate here that we've had we had a punter by the name of Desi Cullen, who was a captain, who was outstanding. And again, it gets back to his work ethic and how he does things and his enthusiasm for playing the game, his enthusiasm for being a UConn Husky football player, and just his overall enthusiasm for wanting everybody to, and most especially this program, to do well. Travis is a guy that doesn't say a whole lot, as you guys well know. He's a man of a few words, but he's a really hard worker, and does the things that you ask him to do. And he's one of those guys that will go up and say something to somebody. He might not, I don't know if I ever heard him yell, but just his presence and the way he handles himself, if he tells somebody, hey, you got to work harder, you better work harder, and, again, he's a guy that, is from New Haven, and, really proud to be, part of this program. And he's come a long way since the time that he's gotten here. So we're very fortunate to have those 3 young men that are going to lead this team. And I know they'll do a great job.
Thank you.
Joe Zone, go ahead.
Randy, I want to go back to the 91 players. For instance, in a classroom situation, most people would say that fewer is better because each student would get more attention. How do you get through that fine line of having so many that you have to look at where they may not get as much attention if there were fewer of them?
Trust me, I'd rather have more than less, because of where we are. And again, I think what happens is it creates more competition, and it gives you a better opportunity to get all these guys work, and then they understand what they have to go through. And when you take a look at it, basically what had happened is we really didn't have a senior class this year, so that was the whole thing. And so now being able to have all these guys, pretty much from the fall, going through, we couldn't put pads on, but at least going through, and this was the thing, the guys that, and again, I'm not criticizing anybody, for not being here, but, you could see a difference for the guys that ended up going home during the fall and the guys that stayed here. So when we came back here this spring, the guys that were here, you could see that they were ahead of the guys that went home from a mental standpoint and from a knowledge standpoint for what we were doing. So, and then when you add those 7 freshmen, because again, anytime in the way we practice and how we practice, you get the repetitions. That's what's really important. And for me, spring practice is about developing people. And I think the more guys that you have, the more you can develop them. And now those guys and now what you see is this: who really wants it? Because who's really going to take what we did this spring and listen to what the coaches have told them? Here's the things that you got to do, and now go work on them. Okay. And you could see that with like some of the guys in the fall. They did that, and they were so much better when we started spring practice and when we started the winter program, because they went and worked at it. And so now there's no excuses, because everybody's going to know, and everybody's going to have had those repetitions, and they've been able to go through and been coached up on the fundamentals and the technique of their position. So now how hard are they going to work here in these next 2 months, before we get back here in June, and to see where they are? And if everybody does what we think they're going to do, that makes us better, because we've had all those guys being able to do those things. So, and if you don't have them doing those things, now you don't have it. So again, I think having that many players, what it did for us, it gave us that opportunity to go and build the kind of depth that you're going to need to sustain the quality of play, through a fall when you're going to have a tough schedule and it's going to be physical.
Mike Crispino.
Randy, you know about the players that were with you in 2019 and the young guys and getting all the experience and developing over this last, year. But now you get to spring. Are there people that fell into the category of opened your eyes? Can you tell us about some of those guys that really even surprised you more than you expected?
Well, there's probably too many guys to talk about, but again, I would say this: I wasn't really disappointed in anybody, from the spring. Yeah, are there some guys that were up here? Yes. Were there guys that were here? Yes. Were there some guys there? Yes. But when you talk about overall, I think they all improved. Some improved more than others. And then I think what we were able to do is to understand that we have some young guys on offense who have the ability to make some plays, and being able to put them in the position to make those plays is going to be something that we have to do. The one thing that I do think is that we still need to get bigger, stronger, faster on both sides of the ball. I think right now we're probably a little bit further ahead defensively, because we're older on defense than we are on offense. We got some young guys still up front that still have to get a little bit bigger and stronger on the offensive line, who are going to be guys that are going to contribute for us. At the receiver position, we had really good competition there, and there's young guys that are pushing some of the older guys to see who's gonna start. Running back, I think we got some young guys who have some speed and explosion that we didn't have previously. So, and then quarterback, it's going to be to see who's going to emerge, as we get through the summer and into the fall, and decide who that person's going to be by the time we take the field at the end of August. So there's, defensive line. I like the depth we have there. Some of these young guys that shouldn't have played, their first year, but now having the ability to get bigger and stronger and to see what they did this spring was very, very encouraging. And now they're going to have to continue to do that. You can see guys playing with more confidence because they have more knowledge. They're bigger and stronger. And so now what we got to do is we got to keep taking it to another level, and again, I think the biggest thing is that the competition has really picked up. It's really picked up. If just because you might have started, there's guys that are here now that will overtake you if you let your guard down. And that from a coaching standpoint is really good to have. I thought the two young kickers was the time that they got, this spring to work was just great for them and great for us, and them getting here in January. And they both have opportunities to be very, very good. And we tried to put them in as many pressure situations and real life situations as we possibly could. So I just think there's a lot of guys who have done a really good job. And for me, is with them, it's like, okay, yeah, this was part of it, but now we got to continue it here, April, May, June, July. And now when we go into August, where are we? Because then that's where, as we go into August, you got 25 practices before that first game. So, who's gonna start to even separate themselves more because of how hard they work and how much they study and the effort that they put in these next 4 months.
Does anybody else have any questions? Don't see any hands up, so we can let Coach go unless he wants to talk about the Orioles on opening day. I don't know how good they're going to be.
I don't think they're going to be that good this year, but
Yeah.
we did have Winston Jules did have surgery. He's having surgery today on his ACL on a non-contact situation. But really, other than that, I think we're in pretty good shape, going into the fall. And again, we had some guys, even with the 91, that's counting guys that were, banged up and everything else, because we did have some guys that were that missed a few days here and there just because of, some bumps and bruises and some things along those lines. So. And again, when you take a look at the schedule, we're going to have a lot of depth. And that's one of the things that we're trying to, I think we have more guys on special teams that we feel good about in terms of our coverage teams than we've ever had since I've been back the second time. We haven't had this kind of depth on special teams. And now it's time for our guys to just, finish up strong academically and just to take, April and May to on their own, because they're going to be on their own for the most part, except for about those dozen kids that'll probably be here to get bigger, stronger, faster, take care of academics and continue to study film and get better. And then, they get back here June 1st. That's when, Coach King can get them, and, they'll be lifting and running, and they'll be doing stuff, on their own in terms of 7-on-7 and things along those lines. And, then the end of July that we as a coaching staff will be able to get with them as we start practice. Anything else?
I don't see any hands up, so I think we'll let you go, Coach. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
Appreciate it,
everybody.
guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a
Thanks,
good summer.
Randy.
Bye.
Yep.
Thank you.